Hi guys, Freddy here. Now, in some of my recent videos, I've mentioned that I've been putting some books together for sale through DrivethruRPG and available to my Patreons. So I just want to put this short video together to explain what's in those books, how I put them together, and how I use the information in those books. But there's two ways of getting these books. As I said, they're available on DrivethruRPG, and I'll put some links in the description down below. But those links will be affiliate links. So even if you don't want to buy my books, if you end up buying anything on DrivethruRPG in the next 15 days, then I'll get something back for sending people their way. So even if you don't want to buy my books, please click on the links, as it does help the channel out. It'd be very much appreciated. Now the second way is to my Patreons. To Patreons of the top status of Laird and the second status of Librarian, they get access to a Google Drive. And on that Google Drive, I share various role-playing documents, but there's a folder with all of these booklets that I've put together. And as soon as I publish new ones, they go straight in there. So Patreons get access to absolutely everything as soon as it comes out. So if you're interested in that, the Patreon will be in the description down below as well, and you can check that out. But anyway, let's have a look at some of these things I've been putting together. So this was the first book I put together, D100 Encounters for Fantasy Cities. And I put one very shortly together after that, which I'll not show off, D100 Encounters for the Fantasy Wilderness. And basically this is just 100 encounters which are randomly generated. And these have what happens, and then they have a twist to change it. Now, in the occasion that the players are involved from the start, this twist will change the situation, so the people that they're encountering may not be all they appear to be. However, if this is just something that the characters are witnessing, then the twist will be something to draw them into it. So they will see some people performing, and then the twist, if the Games Master wants to use it, gets them involved in what's happening with this performance. Now, these are very much based around the way I run adventures, because, as I mentioned in the past, I, for example, ran games at my local community centre for teenage kids, getting them into Dungeons & Dragons because they wanted to play. We had a nice safe space there, and I ran Dungeons & Dragons for them. And in one of the early adventures, they were hired in a town to go to a village to protect it from an outbreak of the undead. And between the city where they were and the village they were heading to was a 5-day trip. Now, while I could have sat and detailed that out, or I could have brushed it over, the way I tend to like running things is fleshing them out with encounters. So I knew it was going to take 5 days. 5. So I rolled 5 encounters up from the tables that I've got, and basically came up with things. So they would find a dead animal at the side of the road. And that would be it. Just something which happens that day. But other ones, they would encounter traders who were trying to distract them so they could be robbed or whatever. These were much bigger encounters which became part of the adventure in their own right. And that's how I like to flesh adventures out. Now, the city adventures are when somebody's in a big town or city and they're travelling across it. So instead of letting people zigzag across it without anything happen, I'll throw in random encounters. So the players arrive at the docks and they're talking away and they decide to the gate, and then one of them wants to sell something and they go somewhere else. Instead of just letting them walk across the city, I'll roll up random encounters just to flesh out that the city's alive and things are happening. And that's what this book is. Now, as I said, they've got the details of it, so a street vendor selling magical trinkets that may not work. And then there's a twist. So what happens if the players try and investigate a bit more? And as I said, there's 100 encounters. They're all numbered, so you can just roll a D100 and randomly select one, or you can read through the titles and choose something if you are fleshing out an adventure. Now, I did D100 encounters for fantasy cities. I've done D100 encounters for cyberpunk cities, because I run a lot of near future stuff, Shadowrun and that kind of thing. And this has these kind of encounters as well. It's very similar. Then we've got modern day encounters. So if you're running Vampire or World of Darkness games, then this has those kind of encounters where people are traveling around cities. Now, I've run a lot of post-apocalyptic games over the years, so post-holocaust encounters for the Wasteland. Just different encounters that people will encounter as they travel across the wasteland, whether it's mutant animals, whether it's raiders, whether it's relics left over from before whatever disaster caused the wasteland to occur. I've also done one here, D100 sci-fi encounters for spaceships, because I run a lot of Star Wars as well. So while it's very easy for them to leave Alderaan and hyperdrive to Tatooine without anything happening, it's quite nice to roll a random encounter where they encounter a ship that's been attacked by pirates, or a rogue asteroid, or a stellar event that they might want to document, because they might be able to sell that information on later. Just little interesting things that they can ignore, but will make the journey a little bit different. Then we've got NPCs. Well, NPCs are always very handy to have. They're broken down here by their jobs as well. So if you're wandering into a town and you encounter a blacksmith, the players might ask what his name is, a bit of history, and you can go, well, Aidan Oatwood's a blacksmith. He was born into a family of blacksmiths, where he's learned to craft metalworking from a young age. Spent countless hours in his father's forge. His life took a turn for the worse when his father passed away, leaving him to run the family business. So we've got a fleshed out character here you can use straight away when the players have gone off the track and just encountered a random character. I do that for post-apocalyptic and cyberpunk as well. These are all illustrated, 100 in each. And basically I've done these for the 3 settings. Modern's my latest ones that I've just been adding. I've also done Book of Fantasy names. So these are just random names, because we all know when you're creating a character and you're trying to choose an elf name, you want to get one which sounds kind of right. So within this book, we've got male elf and female elf 4 names, elf surnames, same for dwarf, humans, orcs, halflings, dragonborn, gnomes, tieflings, Aasimar, Tabaxi, Aarakocra, Genasi, Tritons, Warforged, Lizard folk, goblins, and then we've got a few extra ones here which are random town names, tavern names, drink names, magic weapon names, and ship names. So if a games master wants to just get an NPC a name, he can roll up quickly. So you meet a trader, oh, what's his name? Roll some dice, that's his name. Oh, you're going into a tavern on the road. Okay, I've got a name. These are just very handy things to have during play, so you can quickly get information to your players without stumbling around for it. You know you've got access to all these things. And then we've got an adventure. Now this is one I did write for my kids' campaign. It's fairly low level. It's a short adventure for 4th level characters, The Haunting of Blackthorn Manor, where the players arrive in a small town and are told about there's trouble at the nearby manor, and they can go and investigate it. And there's various events happening in that which are causing the haunting and can lead to them leading to the village being a far more peaceful place if they're successful. And finally, which I released only yesterday, Dust Bowl Junction, a wasteland settlement. Now this is a fleshed out settlement where we have 20 locations, 20 NPCs, and a bunch of adventure ideas based on that settlement. Just something you can drop into your post-apocalyptic campaigns. Going back to the adventure, I'm actually quite proud of the way it came out. There's some nice maps that I drew a long time ago, detailed out, and we've got all the stats in proper stat block format. Now, while I could have formatted the sections slightly better, making it clearer what the Games Master reads out and what's for the Game Master information, that's only occurred to me in hindsight. But I might edit it and put up a new version, because I am very proud of the way this adventure came out indeed. There's a lot of really good encounters in here. I had to write a lot more because my notes just for the kids' game were very basic. But anyway, that's some of the books I've put up. I'm very proud of the way they look. I'm very proud of what's in them. And I'm glad that they're up on DrivethruRPG. There's been some interest. Not massive. I'm not going to become a millionaire over these, but it's good to see that the work is being appreciated. Now, as I said, if you're interested in any of these, then I'll link to the DrivethruRPG site below with an affiliate link. And You can get access to all of them. We're actually up to 15 books. I think I've only shown you about 8 there. But 15 books are up on DrivethruRPG and are available to Patreons of lead or librarian status. So if you check out the Patreon, you can get all of them in a one. But anyway, as usual, I think I've whittled on for quite long enough. So thank you very much for watching, as always. But most of all, you look after yourselves. And I'll catch you later. Bye now.